Hey guys, welcome back to Prep Talk on Prepping in Progress. I'm Steve, and today we're going to talk about some of the ways to prepare yourself for everything from going out into the woods on a day hike to the big event. So stay with us. Okay, guys, so we're going to explain on Saturday why this is so near and dear to our hearts right now. Sorry for the camera moving. Das Puppy that we decided to name Shadow. Actually, we're going with Schattenbruder, Shadow Brother, um, but we're just calling him Shadow in English, is lying at my feet and jiggling the camera every once in a while. So I'll try to get him up here to say hi because he is growing. Anyway, we'll explain why this is near and dear to our hearts right now on Saturday's episode. But for now, I want to throw at you some of the things you need to do to prepare mentally. In the past, people have been found in the wilderness with plenty of supplies, but they just gave up. Um, I remember reading recently, and I don't know if this happened recently or if it had happened a while back, but the story was about a rail car inspector who got into a refrigerated car, not a freezer, but a refrigerated rail car, doing his inspection, and the door closed on him. The temperature setting was around 50 degrees, I want to say. So it was cold, it was cool. But the next morning when he was found, he had frozen to death. He gave up. He gave up here. He decided he was in a no-win scenario, and he gave up. Now, the military, particularly Marines, I've noticed, are fans of a specific saying: we adapt and overcome. So whether your car battery is dying, whether you have a flat tire and no kit, whether you're lost in the woods, or whether you're sitting in your backyard watching the dog try to move the tripod, we adapt and we overcome. Adapting and overcoming is a principle that we, as preparedness minded people, need to live by, not just run around and preach and, oh yeah, I'm a prepper, I can do this. But we actually need to put ourselves into a mindset where when we come up against something, we are able to look at the project from multiple angles and come up with a solution. So that would be the first thing I want to throw at y'all. What are you doing? The next thought, I guess you could say, that I want to throw at y'all. The wording comes from Larry Correia. He's a author not in our genre. He writes a book series called Monster Hunter International. Imagine every B-movie monster that you've ever seen from the 1930s on the big screen is real. And people get paid a bounty to take them out. Larry is one of us in the firearms, and I'm not going to say he's a prepper. I'm just going to say he's a Mormon, and we'll leave it at that. But he has a character in one of his books who talks to some trainees. And he says, y'all have to have flexible minds. You're about to face things that only exist in your imagination. So you're going to have to keep your minds flexible and accept the reality of your situation. That's some pretty good advice, and I was paraphrasing. Our world changes rapidly. And I'm not just talking about the fact that I remember the beginning of the internet era. And I remember how AOL was the gift of the gods, and suddenly those CDs are used as frisbees. I'm talking about how you can be setting up camp at a state park, and the weather says you've got clear skies, and the next thing you know, you're in the middle of a torrential thunderstorm, winds 60, 70, 80 miles per hour, and you're wondering if you're going to make it out of there. The world changes fast. So we have to keep our minds flexible in order to adapt and overcome. We have to be able to look at our situation, and we have to go, okay, it's changing rapidly. You know, I've been I've been playing with fire again as a volunteer fireman. And when you're on a scene, things can change just like that. The fence that the power company shut down is suddenly electrified again. Or the brush fire over the hill by the pond that is under the power line and going, for miles for as far as you can see, the wind changes. Or you head out there and you realize that you have just stepped over a power cable that fell. Your whole world can change in an instant. Suddenly you're wondering if the power's off. Suddenly you've got 5 flashlights in your hand going, okay, where do I step? You have to keep your mind flexible. You have to be willing to look at any given situation at any given time and change your mental paradigm of what the world is. We've had some discussions. I'm not trying to take a pot shot at any one person. We've had discussions about, here's a scenario, play with this scenario. And then people will say, well, I'm already on my bug out location. Nothing can make me leave. Yeah, but the question was given, you have to leave your location. You have to travel X amount of miles. You have to do this. You have to go find water. You have to go do. The answer is not, well, I'm not leaving my location. The problem is that you have to. So now let's play the game. War game in your mind. Keep your mind flexible. Don't get rigid in your box of this is what I'm going to do, because suddenly you have these blinders on and that right hook can come out of nowhere. So I beg you guys to practice wargaming different scenarios. I can never imagine a situation where I would leave a pet behind. Okay. if I'm not going to leave a pet behind, then I've got to take all my pets with me. I have a 17-year-old Great Pyrenees Yellow Lab mix. Suffers from hip dysplasia, takes glucosamine, and the last time I saw him walk a great distance, he walked about half a mile. And he weighs close to 150, 200 pounds. I've wargamed how I would get him out of here, even on foot. And it's not an appealing idea, but it can be done. So, flexible minds. I challenge each and every one of you guys who is watching this to take the time and expand your mental parameters. Expand your ideas. Expand what you are doing right now. And throw a monkey wrench in your own bug out plans. Throw a monkey wrench in your homestead plans. Greatest partnership of all, husband and wife. You get divorced. What happens? Do you agree that he gets the retreat? Does she get the retreat? Do they have to mutually sell the retreat and start over? Guys, we all say it'll never happen to us. I've been divorced once, okay? I was raised, marriage was forever. And I pushed a bad situation for a long time because of that. Lived in a bad situation. That's a talk for another day. But while staying true to your core values, you do need to be ready and willing to change your paradigm, to change your thought perspective. Our third thought challenge for the day, if you want to call it that, is going to be an expression that someone said to me once, and it stuck in my mind. And apparently there's actually a group out there that has a website and whatnot that uses it, but guys, this not original. It was told to me by a friend. But I'm not trying to take anything away from y'all. Knowledge weighs nothing. You've heard me say it before. Knowledge weighs nothing. Don't get me wrong. I'm willing to put a couple of handbooks in my bag. I know that there are skills that I don't have. Okay? Straight up, I don't have them. There are cheats that I use on some of them. Yes, I'm watching what's going on behind me as well. Shadow, leave the cat alone. By the way, Shadow, the little puppy that I held on my lap has gotten a wee bit bigger. There are skills that I don't have. I am not very good at a flint and steel. I carry a Zippo. I carry matches. I carry butane lighters. So I guess I'm not a true woodsman by some definitions. I'm okay with that, guys. I know my weaknesses. I also have a flint and steel. I also go out and I use the black and white fire starter kits, and I break them apart and I make my own fire kit. because that stuff works, and it's a cheat for me. It helps me. Um, some of you guys can render your own fat wood and render your own uh, chips, and you're get with me at a get together and teach me. Please, I will sit at your feet and soak up your knowledge. All right? But knowledge weighs nothing. Okay, so one of my friends, Rick at Ozarks Prepared, I'm putting some pressure on you, brother. I'm trying to con him into coming up to the next Johnson County swap meet and teaching some kind of bushcrafting survival class, skills class. Um, he did a video a while back on knots, and he was setting up tarp shelters, and he showed the knots he uses. And those are things that they're not in this old boy's head. I would have to have a book for me in order to do some of the things he does. I mean, I can do a figure eight and a couple of my rescue knots that I did when I was rock climbing regularly and rappelling, but anything deeper than that, no. So Rick has an advantage over me. Rick has knowledge in his head that he can go straight to, whereas that knowledge weighs something on me because I have to have a book or something or a cheat sheet. And, in a given situation, you pull out your bag and you pull out the card with how to do 10 knots, ounces or pounds. What, Shadow? You are not bugging the kitty. So, knowledge. Know what you can and cannot do, accept what you cannot do, and remedy the situation. None of us is going to be Bear Grylls. None of us is going to be, American. Chris Weatherman, and compete on alone, or Alan Kay. None of us can do it. All right. But some of us can come close. And those of you that can come close, step up and teach. I have a few skills that I can teach, and I can teach well, and I feel that I can teach them well because I can do them. So, knowledge weighs nothing. Start lightening your pack by filling your brain. All right, guys. Hope you enjoy this prep talk. Sorry for the little splice. Miss Kim actually called while we were filming, so I got to talk to my beautiful, beautiful, beautiful partner, best friend in the world. All right, guys. I will talk to you soon. Thanks for watching. Remember to do the like, share, subscribe-y thingy. Or don't.